You are here for the 10 rules of Machiavelli. But what follows is not the sanitized theory taught in university classrooms. It is the raw, unedited architecture of human dominance. Society has indoctrinated you with a dangerous lie that hard work, honesty, and fair play are the ultimate shields against failure. That is the philosophy of the prey. Morality without the capacity for ruthlessness is just a delayed suicide. The people running the world do not play fair. They play to win. There are 10 psychological laws that govern the dark side of human nature. Master them, and you become the architect of your reality. Ignore them, and you remain a pawn. But pay close attention to Rule 2. It is a psychological weapon so devastating that once you understand it, you will never look at your closest allies the same way again. Rule 1. The architecture of total ruin. There is a fatal flaw in how you handle conflict. When someone betrays you, disrespects you, or attempts to take what is yours, you react emotionally. You argue, you demand an apology. Or worse, you inflict a minor punishment and then attempt to return to a state of peace. You forgive, but you keep them close. You create a boundary, but you leave the gate unlocked. Machiavelli viewed this as the ultimate strategic sin. He wrote, "If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared." We are not talking about physical violence. We are talking about psychological and social survival. When you wound an enemy partially, you do not teach them a lesson. You only teach them to hate you, and you leave them with the resources, the proximity, and the motivation to plot their revenge. Game theory experts who study human cooperation often praise the tit-for-tat strategy, matching your opponent's move equally. But behavioral scientists studying the dark triad traits recognize a different, more chilling reality. A strictly proportional response merely invites an endless cycle of warfare. The predator does not stop when you push back lightly. They only stop when the cost of engaging with you becomes catastrophic. When someone proves they are a threat to your livelihood, your reputation, or your mental sanctuary, you do not negotiate. You do not seek closure. You dismantle their leverage completely. You remove their access to your network. You revoke their privileges instantly. You cut the financial, emotional, or social cord with such absolute finality that they are left stunned, lacking the footing to strike back. You suffer today because you keep giving second chances to people who are studying your weaknesses. You engage in half measures. A half measure is a full betrayal of yourself. Stop leaving wounded predators in your camp. If you must cut someone out, do it with surgical precision and total finality. Leave them no angle of return. Leave them no room for retaliation. You do not just win the argument, you erase the battlefield. Are you starting to see why the conventional rules of kindness are getting you killed? Good. Now prepare yourself, because this next law is the exact reason why the most powerful people in your life are loved by the masses, even while their hands are dripping with blood. Rule 2. The executioner's proxy. You want to be the boss. You want to be the leader. You want to hold the power, but you are terrified of being hated. You want to make the hard decisions, fire the incompetent employee, cut off the toxic relative, or enforce the strict boundaries, but you desperately want everyone to understand your side and still view you as the hero. This contradiction will tear you apart. You cannot wear the crown and keep your hands perfectly clean. But Machiavelli had a solution. It is called the delegation of cruelty. In the early 16th century, Cesare Borgia conquered the region of Romagna. It was a lawless, chaotic land, overrun by robbers and violent factions. Borgia knew he needed to establish absolute order, but he also knew that imposing harsh laws would make the citizens hate him. He needed peace, but he refused to be the villain. So, he hired a man named Ramiro de Orco. Ramiro was brutal, efficient, and entirely merciless. Borgia gave him absolute power to clean up the region. Ramiro did exactly that. He executed the warlords, crushed the gangs, and brought order to Romagna through sheer terror. The people were safe, but they despised Ramiro. The anger was boiling. Once the region was pacified, Borgia knew Ramiro had outlived his usefulness and was now a liability. One winter morning, the citizens of Romagna woke up to a horrific sight in the town square. Ramiro de Orco had been cut in half, his body displayed with a bloody knife beside it. Borgia had executed his own executioner. The psychological effect was immediate and profound. The people were terrified of Borgia's power, yet overwhelmingly grateful that he had saved them from the cruel tyrant. Borgia secured a peaceful state and the devotion of his subjects, all without ever taking the blame for the initial violence. This is the executioner's proxy. In your life, in your business, in your social circles, you must learn to separate the act of cruelty from your own face. When an unpopular policy must be enforced, let the system, the contract, or a third party be the bad guy. I would love to give you the loan, but my financial advisor has strictly forbidden it. I want to keep you on the team, but the board has mandated immediate budget cuts. You preserve your aura of benevolence while the necessary destruction occurs exactly as you planned. Let someone else wield the axe. You step in afterward to offer condolences. It sounds deceptive, it is. But ask yourself, would you rather be an honest casualty or a calculating survivor? If you are still waiting for permission to put your survival over your politeness, you are not ready for what comes next. Because the third rule requires you to look at the people you love and find exactly where they are broken. Rule 3. The anatomy of the thumbscrew. Every human being walking the earth is driven by a hidden fracture, a childhood wound, a desperate insecurity, a secret vanity. Robert Greene outlined this flawlessly in his 48 Laws of Power. Discover each man's thumbscrew. You interact with people by listening to what they say. You watch their carefully constructed avatars. You believe the confident posture of your boss. You believe the selfless facade of your friend. You take them at face value, and because of this, you have zero leverage. People do not act based on logic. They act based on compensation. Everything a person does is an attempt to soothe an internal ache. The man who aggressively flashes his wealth is not demonstrating power. He is screaming that he feels fundamentally insignificant. The woman who constantly gossips and judges the morality of others is terrified of her own hidden shame. The colleague who is hyper-competitive over minor details is starved for validation they never received. To become mentally untouchable, you must become a psychological diagnostician. You must stop listening to the words people say and start observing the voids they are trying to fill. How do you find the thumbscrew? Look for the disproportionate reaction. When someone gets uncharacteristically angry over a minor joke, you have found a raw nerve. When someone lights up with desperate joy over a specific type of compliment, you have found their starvation point. Once you know what a person truly lacks, you hold the keys to their mind. If they crave intellectual validation, you feed it to them in measured doses. They will become addicted to your presence. If they are terrified of abandonment, you simply hint at pulling away, and they will surrender everything to keep you close. Is this manipulation? Yes. But recognize this. The world is already manipulating you through your unhealed wounds. The marketing you consume, the politicians you follow, the toxic partners you attract, they have all found your thumbscrew and they are turning it daily. You are simply learning the mechanics of the machine that has been crushing you. Stop viewing people as solid objects. View them as locked doors. Find the right psychological key and they will open up and hand you everything inside. You now possess the keys. But a key is useless if you do not know how to change your shape to walk through the door. Rule 4. The doctrine of the beast society loves a consistent identity. They want to put you in a neat, easily understandable category. He is the reliable one. She is the sweet one. He is the aggressive one. When you adopt a static personality, you make yourself entirely predictable. And in the theater of power, predictability is a death sentence. If your enemies know you will always take the high road, they will build their strategy around your guaranteed compliance. If they know you are prone to explosive anger, they will provoke you into destroying your own reputation. Machiavelli destroyed the concept of the static, moral identity in chapter 18 of The Prince. He introduced the doctrine of the beast, the lion, and the fox. A leader, he argued, must understand how to utilize the nature of both beasts. The lion is pure, unadulterated force. It terrifies the wolves. But the lion is blind. It cannot recognize traps. The fox is cunning, deceptive, and brilliant at evading snares. But the fox is physically weak. It cannot fight off the wolves. Therefore, you must be a fox to recognize the traps, and a lion to frighten off the wolves. Your failure in life comes from relying on only one nature. You are too honest when you should be cunning, stepping blindly into office politics and social traps because you believe the truth will set you free. It will not. It will make you a target. Or, conversely, you are too passive and sneaky when a situation demands absolute, roaring confrontation, allowing lesser people to walk over you. You must become psychologically fluid. When dealing with a deceitful opponent, drop your rigid morality. Become the fox. Use misdirection. Feed them false information. Smile to their face while dismantling their strategy behind the scenes. When dealing with a direct, aggressive threat, drop the diplomacy. Become the lion. Strike with a force so sudden and overwhelming that their entire nervous system registers you as an apex danger. The masters of this world do not have one personality. They have an arsenal of them. They pull the appropriate mask from the wall depending on the prey standing in front of them. Stop trying to be one thing. Be whatever the environment requires you to be to survive. But what happens when the threat standing in front of you is far more powerful than you are? A lion will be slaughtered. A fox will be hunted down. There is a specific mask required for dealing with those who hold the keys to your future. Rule 5. Weaponized humility. Ego is the great destroyer of potential, not just your ego, but your inability to manage the ego of those above you. You live in a culture that tells you to shine, to showcase your talents, to make sure everyone knows exactly how brilliant, competent, and irreplaceable you are. So you enter a new job, a new social circle, or a new mentorship, and you immediately try to impress the person in charge. You offer better ideas, you work faster, you display your sharp wit, and then, inexplicably, you find yourself sidelined. The boss stops giving you prime projects. The mentor becomes cold. The group subtly ostracizes you. You did not fail because you were incompetent. You failed because you violated the first law of power. Never outshine the master. People in positions of authority are almost universally plagued by insecurity. Their title is a shield for their fragile self-worth. When you, the subordinate, display superior intellect or charm, you do not earn their respect. You trigger their survival instinct. You become a threat that must be neutralized. Machiavelli and Green both understood that to gather power, you must first master the art of looking smaller than you are. This is weaponized humility. When you are climbing the ladder, your goal is not to be the smartest person in the room. Your goal is to make the master look exceptionally brilliant. If you have a groundbreaking idea, frame it as a natural extension of something the boss mentioned last week. Hand them the credit. Feed their vanity. While they are gorging on the applause, you are quietly gaining access. You are learning their systems. You are building alliances. You are securing the resources you need. Fools fight for credit. Strategists fight for leverage. Let the insecure ruler wear the heavy, glittering crown. Let them take the public scrutiny. You remain the quiet architect in the shadows, appearing harmless, helpful, and completely subordinate. By the time they realize you have outgrown them, you will already own the building. Rule 6. The asymmetry of need. You have been conditioned to believe that the foundation of any strong relationship, whether in business, friendship, or romance, is mutual affection. You bend over backward to be liked. You compromise. You sacrifice your own comfort to ensure the other person is happy, believing that this deposits goodwill into a psychological bank account you can withdraw from later. You are entirely wrong. Affection is the most unstable currency on the planet. Machiavelli warned that love is held by a link of obligation which, because men are wretched creatures, is broken at every opportunity for their own advantage. If your power over someone relies strictly on their affection for you, you are sitting on a throne made of ice. The moment the temperature changes, you fall. True, unshakable control is not built on love. It is built on dependence. If you want absolute loyalty, you do not ask for it. You engineer an environment where the other party cannot function optimally without your presence. You must become the exclusive supplier of a vital resource. This resource does not have to be money. It can be access to a specific network. It can be a unique skill that shields them from disaster. It can even be a specific grade of emotional validation that they cannot extract from anyone else in their shallow lives. When you make someone dependent on you, their feelings toward you become irrelevant. They may love you, they may secretly resent you, but they will never leave you. They cannot afford to. Look at the dynamics of power in your own life. The boss does not care if the employees love him. He controls the paycheck. The gravity of the paycheck enforces the compliance. You must build your own gravity. Stop trying to be the most liked person in the room. Become the most necessary. When you are necessary, your flaws are forgiven. Your demands are met. Your boundaries are respected. The moment you are no longer needed, you are discarded, regardless of how good of a person you were. Create the addiction. Supply the antidote. Hold the keys. But how do you create this psychological addiction without appearing like a tyrant? You do not force it. You manipulate their brain chemistry. Rule 7. The economics of the slot machine. There is a reason why the nice guy and the reliable friend are universally taken for granted. When you are always available, always supportive, and always giving, you violate the fundamental law of perceived value. In economics, hyperinflation destroys the value of currency. In psychology, hyperavailability destroys the value of your attention. You become a broken vending machine that dispenses a free soda every time the button is pressed. People stop valuing the soda, they expect it, and the moment the machine is empty, they kick the glass and walk away. To build a high-retention psychological grip on anyone, you must stop operating like a vending machine and start operating like a casino. Casinos do not keep people hooked by letting them win every time. They keep them hooked through intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes you pull the lever and lose. Sometimes you pull it and win a little. And occasionally, randomly, you pull it and hit the jackpot. The brain's dopamine system goes into overdrive trying to predict the unpredictable. This is how you must dispense your attention, your praise, and your warmth. Be intensely present and overwhelmingly validating one day. Make them feel like they are the absolute center of your universe. Give them the jackpot. Then, the next day, pull back. Do not be mean. Do not be cruel. Just be distant. Be preoccupied. Respond slower. Let your eyes wander. Their brain will panic. They will ask themselves, what did I do wrong? How do I get that warmth back? They will begin to work for your validation. They will alter their behavior, lower their demands, and invest their own energy just to get another hit of the jackpot you gave them yesterday. You are no longer negotiating for their respect. You have bypassed their logical brain and hijacked their neurochemistry. The people who control you right now are doing this to you. The toxic partner, the aloof boss, the unpredictable client. They are keeping you on a string by starving you and then feeding you crumbs. Flip the board. Become the house. The house always wins. And when the house is finally challenged, it does not panic. It uses the weight of the attacker against them. Rule 8. The illusion of the glass jaw. Aggression is loud. It is theatrical. When someone challenges your authority, questions your intelligence, or attempts to publicly humiliate you, your biological instinct is to immediately rise to the occasion. Your ego demands blood. You want to argue, to justify, to strike back with equal force to prove you are not weak. This is exactly what your opponent is praying you will do. When you react with immediate defense, you legitimize their attack. You show them exactly where your armor is thin. Sun Tzu understood that the greatest warriors do not block a strike. They let the strike hit nothing, causing the attacker to overextend and break their own balance. Machiavelli understood this on a political level. Never interrupt an enemy when they are making a mistake, and never show your true strength until the enemy has exposed their throat. This is the tactic of the glass jaw. When you are attacked, do not defend. Absorb. Agree with a fraction of their insult to completely disarm their momentum. If a rival in a meeting attempts to undermine your project by saying it is too risky and poorly planned, do not pull out your spreadsheets and defend your honor. Look at them calmly. Let the silence hang in the air for a fraction of a second too long and say, "You are absolutely right. The risk is massive. Most people wouldn't have the stomach to execute it. Perhaps we should assign you to something safer." You have just taken their kinetic energy and redirected it directly into their own insecurity. You did not raise your voice. You did not sweat. You agreed with the premise and twisted the conclusion into a psychological blade. People want a rigid enemy. They want a wall they can punch. When they punch a wall, they feel strong. Give them smoke. When they attack you, they should feel like they are swinging at the air. The lack of resistance terrifies the aggressor. They begin to doubt their own strategy. They wonder what you know that they do not. By refusing to defend yourself in the conventional way, you project an aura of untouchable superiority. You make their aggression look like a desperate, childish tantrum. You win without throwing a single punch. But dealing with enemies is the easy part. The real danger does not come from the people trying to destroy you. It comes from the people trying to drag you down to their level of suffering. Rule 9. The quarantine of emotional parasites. There is a twisted romanticism attached to the idea of loyalty. You drag dead weight with you through life because you have shared history. You listen to the same friend complain about the same self-inflicted crisis for years. You lend money to the relative who refuses to work. You drain your own psychological battery, trying to resuscitate people who are secretly in love with their own misery. Machiavelli had zero tolerance for the unlucky and the chronically incompetent. He knew that misery is highly contagious. People who are constantly surrounded by drama, failure, and chaos are not victims of circumstance. They are the architects of their own destruction. They lack judgment, discipline, and emotional control. And because they cannot generate their own power, they survive by siphoning it from anyone empathetic enough to listen. You call it being a good friend. A strategist calls it self-sabotage. Every minute you spend absorbing the toxic circular complaints of an emotional parasite is a minute stolen from your own empire. You are allowing them to install their low-frequency operating system into your brain. Their pessimism will slowly bleed into your ambition. Their fear of failure will infect your risk tolerance. If you want to be mentally untouchable, you must become ruthless with your access. You cannot save people who do not want to be saved. If you jump into the water to rescue a drowning man who is panicking, he will climb on top of your head and push you under to catch his own breath. Cut the rope. You must develop the capacity to look at someone you care about, recognize that their behavior is a terminal disease to your own potential, and silently walk away. You do not need to announce your departure. You do not need to explain yourself. Explanations are negotiations, and you do not negotiate with parasites. Slowly increase the distance. Become too busy. Become unresponsive. Let the cold reality of your absence force them to confront their own chaos. Does this sound cruel? Good. The world is built on cruelty. The only choice you have is whether you will be the one wielding the knife or the one bleeding out on the altar of someone else's incompetence. Protect your inner circle as if it were a high-security vault. Only allow entry to those who bring capital, intellectual, emotional, or strategic. Everyone else is a liability. And once you purge the liabilities, you will finally come face to face with the ultimate, terrifying truth of power. Rule 10. The sovereign's isolation. This is the rule that breaks most people. This is the threshold where the tourists turn back and only the outliers remain. You want the power. You want the control. You want to walk into a room and feel the invisible shift in gravity as people recognize your authority. But you also want to be understood. You want to be held. You want someone to look at you and validate all the hard choices you had to make. You cannot have both. The apex of power is an absolute freezing isolation. Machiavelli wrote from a place of exile. He understood that the prince, the true sovereign, has no peers. When you master your emotions, when you manipulate the dependency of others, when you cut away the parasites and wear the masks required to conquer your environment, you elevate yourself out of the common human experience. You can no longer complain to your friends because they will not understand the altitude of your problems. You can no longer seek comfort in the herd because you are the one managing the herd. Most people abandon the pursuit of greatness right at this precipice. The silence of the summit terrifies them. They drop their ambitions and run back down to the valley just to feel the warmth of the crowd. The mentally untouchable individual embraces the cold. You must accept that your path will be radically misunderstood by 99% of the population. They will call you cold. They will call you detached. They will whisper that you have changed, that you are arrogant, that you are unapproachable. Let them whisper. Sheep always whisper about the wolf. Your isolation is not a punishment. It is your fortress. When you no longer need the emotional warmth of the crowd to survive, the crowd loses all its leverage over you. You become immune to their guilt trips, their public shaming, and their demands for conformity. You are no longer playing their game. You are the architect of your own. Look at your life right now. Look at the people who have taken advantage of you. Look at the times you bit your tongue to keep the peace, only to be disrespected anyway. Look at the opportunities you lost because you were too afraid of being seen as the villain. You have tried playing by the rules of the prey. You have tried being the saint. It has only left you exhausted, bitter, and marginalized. The 10 rules you have just absorbed are not theories. They are the hidden physics of human interaction. They are operating right now, in your office, in your home, in your own mind. You can ignore them and go back to sleep. You can return to the comforting illusion that the world rewards the meek. But you will never again be able to claim ignorance when you are outmaneuvered, undervalued, and cast aside. The veil has been lifted. You now know exactly how the strings are pulled. The only question remaining is this: are you going to keep dancing for the amusement of others, or are you finally ready to cut the strings and step off the stage? If this video disturbed you, if it cracked the fragile glass of your worldview and exposed the cold machinery underneath, understand that it was almost never published, because as of today, YouTube has completely demonetized my channel. The system is actively trying to silence this information. The algorithm is designed to keep the masses comfortable, docile, and easily controlled. They want creators to bow down to advertisers, to sanitize the truth, and to feed you the same harmless, recycled advice that keeps you exactly where you are. I refuse to play that game. Instead of watering down this content to please corporate sponsors, I am doubling down on my depth. I am going darker, deeper, and more brutally honest than ever before. But to do that, I need your support to keep this channel alive. The most dangerous, raw, and unfiltered content I produce can no longer live on this platform. It lives on my Patreon. Click the link in the description right now and join me on Patreon. I am making exclusive members-only videos that dissect the true architecture of power without the algorithm looking over our shoulder. Most people will close this video and go back to being victims. They prefer the warmth of their chains. Don't be like them. Click the link in the description. I will see you on the inside.